Hey, it's early morning, September 9th, I believe it is. I'm just out here picking some pole beans, and I really found a variety I quite like, and we're going to save some seed from that. It's called Emirate, and this is from William Dam Seeds. 55 days, a long, round, thin, medium green French fillet bean. It's got excellent flavor and quality. So that's swelled up pretty nice and large. You can see the beans inside the pod there, lumped up a bit. Should be nice. These are much bigger now than when we were picking them to eat them. Nonetheless, they're still pretty nice like that if they don't have too many speckles on them. A little bit tougher, but boiled a little bit rather than steamed, and they're still quite nice. Still no strings. So I'm really impressed with this variety. Should be really great for next year. French fillet bush bean harvest that we picked just right here. Didn't string them up or anything. Just another thing I didn't quite get to. Nonetheless, they made really nice beans. I've got wood chips down here, so pretty clean, except for the mushrooms that came up and stained some. A bunch of these are gonna be pickled. So we set aside some of the first to ripen for seed, so that we keep the earliness of the variety. So they've fully matured on the vine and dried. Had such good weather, and they're a little protected here as well, so they didn't get too much rain. You gotta be careful if you're doing that, leaving them on all summer, that they don't get rot. But a really good year for just letting them cure fully right on the vine. So it's really worked well just to keep planting peas from early spring right to July. And fall peas here, they're just starting, they're flowering and setting some nice peas. Just make sure they get lots of water as they're growing when they're small. I put a bit of a shade cloth over them for the later plantings in the beginning, because you don't want them to get too hot, right? So that's the seed. That's a couple packets anyways, but I have another variety I'm going to save from, and more next year for sure. It's a good amount here still. So it's October 11th, Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada, and we're going to be harvesting some cabbage. Got about a 20-foot bed here, and got a few different varieties in here. We got a Savoy type, Alcosa, I believe that's this one here. They headed up quite nice. It's a hybrid. We got a Red Express, which is an heirloom, and a couple ball head, that's the heirloom as well. And Didon, which is like a red and green cross. It's a really beautiful variety. That's the first year growing that one. They're heading up quite nice over in the row cover. Got some more premium heads under there. So I tried planting some sage and onions this year to try to mask the smell of the cabbage from the cabbage moth, they call it, which might have helped a bit. You know, wasn't expecting incredible results from that, but anyway, it's got some nice sage growing in this bed as well. We're going to be harvesting these for making a bunch of borscht and sauerkraut. fairly undamaged in there. Small, but really pretty. And this is one of the larger ones. This is an Alcosa. Looks like we got some nice beets in there. That's Cinderella beet. Oh yeah. Almost growing entirely above ground. Some really nice heads of Didon. Alcosa. Nice and heavy. This variety. So many worms in my garden now. Got 2 species. These red ones are striped, and they're primarily used for decomposing organic matter. Doesn't have a ton of weight. The Alcosa is definitely heavier. And so I was just pulling this cabbage up, and we got potatoes right underneath. It's a purple variety. Look at that. Potatoes grown directly under a cabbage. I just love things like that. What a beautiful symbiosis. So I'm primarily practicing no-dig methods, so we want to leave the roots, as many as we can, in the ground, so worms have something to eat, especially with all these red wigglers in here. They'll be all clustered on there in the spring pretty much, so that's a wonderful thing. So we did pull some out with the root for good storage. They will last longer in storage with the root ball on the cabbage head, but there's still about half of the roots in here, so we're just going to go ahead and leave them in the bed. Got the bed cleaned up here and ready to harvest these nice Cinderella beets. I know in one of my other videos I was saying these beets were going to come out right after the Napa cabbage. Had the Napa cabbage and the later varieties of cabbage in here, but we ended up just leaving them in till now, till fall, and they're looking pretty nice. So we're going to be harvesting those next, and all the organic matter is going to be going right onto a hugelkultur berm, kind of a water retaining berm that we're building over on the other side of the property there. So that's primarily where all this organic matter cleanup this fall is going to be just layered on there and composted in place. Got the red wigglers now pretty much throughout the property. Probably sprinkle a few more on there in that whole berm. And we're just doing kind of a lasagna layering hugelkultur berm. These cosmos keep on blooming. So beautiful. They're all volunteers. We did a few out, but I left as many as I could. Look at these. Winter Juniper variety. Wow. Pretty nice. So planted these as transplants in the spring. One nice bunch of onions anyways. I got the onions in kind of late again, so they didn't swell up that large. That was got a few bunches this size. Some smaller ones. These are some of the nicer ones here. Pretty happy with the cabbages this year. And the beets. Onions. Need to get them in a bit earlier still, but still got some. And yeah, a few pumpkins from over in this area of the garden. So all this produce was kind of over here in this section of the garden. Still a lot of other things growing over here, peas and beans and tomatoes and eggplants and kale and chard, lettuce, all kinds of stuff really. But for this afternoon here, this is the harvest for this section of the garden.
Good girl. Get it. Good girl. Good girl. Abby's. One more try. Go for it. Go. Get it. Get it. Good girl. Woo. Get it. Yay.